The History of Scotland, Part 8, Modern Scotland, Devolution and Identity, 1900 to today. The 20th century brought Scotland into the modern age. It was a century of courage and sacrifice, of decline and reinvention, of rediscovering identity. From the battlefields of 2 world wars to the debates of the modern Scottish Parliament, the story of Scotland in this era is one of resilience, change and renewed pride. The World Wars and national sacrifice. World War I, 1914 to 1918. Over 690,000 Scots served in the Great War. Around 135,000 were killed, a staggering toll for a small nation. Scottish regiments, the Black Watch, the Gordon Highlanders, the Seaforths, earned reputations for courage and sacrifice. The Battle of the Somme, 1916, saw horrific losses. On the first day alone, the 51st Highland Division suffered thousands of casualties. At home, women entered the workforce in unprecedented numbers in munitions factories, transport and farming. The war left scars on every town and village. War memorials still stand at the heart of Scottish communities, inscribed with the names of sons who never returned. World War II, 1939 to 1945. Scotland again played a vital role. Its shipyards on the Clyde produced warships, while coal mines and steelworks powered the war effort. The Battle of the Atlantic depended on Scottish ports, with convoys sailing from the Clyde to supply Britain. Over 500,000 Scots served. Tens of thousands died in Europe, North Africa and Asia. The Clyde was heavily bombed in the Clydeside Blitz, 1941, with hundreds killed. Scotland also hosted Polish, Norwegian and other Allied forces in exile. Both wars deepened Scottish pride, but also strained its industries. Post-war Scotland, decline and hardship. After 1945, Scotland entered a new chapter. Economic decline. Traditional heavy industries, shipbuilding, coal mining, steel production, began to decline from the 1950s onward. Global competition and reduced demand meant shipyards on the Clyde closed, mines fell silent and steelworks were dismantled. Communities in Glasgow, Lanarkshire, Fife and Ayrshire faced mass unemployment. Social impact. Working class communities that had defined Scotland's industrial heartland were devastated. Poverty and poor housing were major issues. Vast council estates like Easterhouse in Glasgow were built to rehouse slum dwellers. Emigration resumed as Scots sought opportunities in Canada, Australia and England. Yet amid hardship, Scotland's cultural identity endured. Cultural renaissance. The mid-20th century also saw a flowering of Scottish culture and identity. Literature. Writers such as Hugh MacDiarmid, Edwin Morgan and Sorley MacLean revived Scottish poetry and Gaelic verse. Theatre and music. Folk revivalists like the Corries and Hamish Henderson helped popularise traditional Scottish songs, including Flower of Scotland, which became an unofficial national anthem. Sport. Football clubs like Celtic and Rangers dominated Scottish life, while Scottish players starred internationally. Identity. Tartan, Highland games and Burn suppers grew as symbols of national pride, celebrate both at home and among the diaspora. The road to devolution. For much of the 20th century, Scotland was governed directly from Westminster, but growing discontent fueled demands for greater autonomy. 1934, the Scottish National Party, SNP, was founded, calling for independence. 1979 referendum. A first vote on devolution narrowly failed, with majority support but not enough turnout to meet the threshold. 1980s. Under Margaret Thatcher's Conservative government, Scotland was hit hard by deindustrialisation and the unpopular poll tax, which was introduced in Scotland a year before England. Resentment grew. 1997. Referendum and 1999 Parliament. In 1997, Labour Prime Minister Tony Blair held a second referendum. This time, Scots voted decisively for devolution. In 1999, the Scottish Parliament was restored in Edinburgh for the first time in nearly 300 years. It gained powers over health, education and justice. Donald Dewar, Labour's First Minister, declared, "There shall be a Scottish Parliament." The Scottish Parliament adjourned on the 25th day of March in the year 1707 is hereby reconvened. Devolution transformed Scotland's politics. The independence debate. Devolution gave Scotland a new voice, but also revived the independence question. The 2014 independence referendum. On the 18th of September 2014, Scots voted on whether to leave the United Kingdom. Turnout was extraordinary. Over 84% of voters participated. 55% voted no, choosing to remain in the UK, while 45% voted for independence. The campaign was deeply passionate, dividing families and communities, but also energised political life, Brexit and renewed debate. In 2016, the UK voted narrowly to leave the European Union, but in Scotland, 62% voted to remain. This reignited independence calls, as many Scots felt they were being forced out of Europe against their will. Since then, the question of independence has remained central. The Scottish National Party, under leaders like Alex Salmond and Nicola Sturgeon, has pressed for a second referendum. The debate remains unresolved. Modern Scotland, identity and global reach. Scotland today is a land of contrasts. Cities, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Dundee and Aberdeen, thrive as centres of finance, culture and education. Renewables. Scotland is a leader in wind and tidal energy, harnessing its natural power. Culture. Writers like Irvine Welsh, Trainspotting, and musicians from Annie Lennox to Lewis Capaldi carry Scottish creativity worldwide. Diaspora. Millions abroad, in Canada, the US, Australia and beyond, celebrate their Scottish heritage with Highland Games and Burns Nights. Scotland's sense of identity remains fierce, whether in kilts at rugby games, Gaelic songs in the Hebrides, or bagpipes in parades abroad, its culture endures. Modern Scotland is a nation reborn from struggle. Its people fought in world wars, endured the collapse of industries, and rebuilt their future through education, creativity and resilience. Devolution restored its voice, independence debates shaped its politics, and its culture spread across the globe. From the lochs and glens to parliaments and stages, Scotland remains proud, diverse and unbowed. Whether as part of the United Kingdom or one day as an independent nation, it continues to carry forward the legacy of its ancestors. A legacy of courage, identity and hope. Wow! That's the complete history of Scotland completed. I hope you enjoyed watching these videos as much as I enjoyed researching them. If you would like to see more videos like this, please like and share. As always, stay curious.